What's going on, guys? This is Dave as a party with a brand new episode today. Hopefully something a bit different for you all too. We're going to do a player experiment with Memphis Depay, or Depay, depends how you pronounce it, who's recently joined Manchester United. Firstly, I'd just like to say this video, it's got no representation of real life happenings, what will happen to Memphis Depay, and of course Manchester United team will be very different to what it is at the moment, at the start of next season anyway. So it's just for a bit of fun and see what we can do with Depay. Firstly, we're going to look at his stats. So we'll just try and find him here on the search, and there he is. He's been given the number 41. I haven't really messed with any of the numbers. I've just chucked him straight into the Manchester United squad. I can already see he's got some fantastic stats, especially for his age, and they're only going to grow. Best roles in attacking midfielder left, and he's very comfortable in a striker where he's accomplished too as a complete forward. Quick look at his stats too. Standout ones there. Dribbling of 16, first touch 16, a very good free kick taker as well at 16, and his long shots of 16. Off the ball he's got 17, along with flair and bravery at 16, and his physical stats are very, very good as well, with his natural fitness of 17, and his pace and acceleration also standing out at 15 and 16 respectively. Obviously he spent most of his career at PSV, where he scored 12 goals last season in 32 appearances. I think he's done even better this season, I'm not too sure though. And Manchester United hopefully will finish top 4 this season, and hopefully Memphis Depay will be a part of this. I'm not expecting Memphis Depay to make an immediate massive impact on Manchester United's season, especially as these stats aren't adapted, you could say, to the Premier League. I'm sure they will improve over this season. I'll probably hope to see him play at least 25 games for them this season, if not more, and from there we'll go on and see what else he can do. So we'll skip forward to the end of the first season and see how Memphis did. Okay guys, so we're back, so let's see what's been going on with Memphis Depay and Manchester United. We'll have a quick look at how he did this season. Okay, still at Manchester United. Looks like he's had some really good games there too. Season stats. Oh, it probably won't show him. We'll have to go and look. But his value was significantly increased rather. That's really impressive. 26.5 million. He's obviously had a new contract as well. He's gone up to 90k a week. So last season he played 30 games and got 9 goals, 5 assists, 3 man of the matches, and an average rating of 7.31. Very solid indeed. In the cup he played 3 games as well. He got 3 goals and 1 assist and 1 man of the match. And he played 9 international games and got 3 goals and 3 assists too. His average rating was very good this season. 7.41, including international games. That's a really good solid first season rather for Memphis Depay at Manchester United. As a whole, how did Manchester United do? We'll have a quick look now. They ended up in... I'm actually going to end up... We'll have to stop the next season a bit more earlier. But Manchester United actually won the league. Now that's really impressive. They won it by 1 point at a significantly better goal difference than Liverpool, who finished second. Louis van Gaal still the manager. We'll look at their fixtures from the last season as well, how they did in all the cup competitions. So let's get rid of all these. Obviously they won the Premier League. We'll see if they had any significant runs there. They were a bit on and off, but they got enough wins really to see, 4 wins at the end of the season there. In the FA Cup, they lost in the 3rd round. Depay did play their game. It looks like he was playing up front. We'll check that out in a minute. Capital One Cup, they lost in the 3rd round of that too on penalties to Leeds. Depay actually scored a hat-trick in that second round. And Champions League, obviously they weren't in it. Community Shield, they weren't in it either. Unfortunately, it doesn't show me. I've skipped a bit too far into it, but definitely next season we'll have a look. It looked like he was playing striker for a lot of their Manchester United games, to be honest. We'll see if they brought in anyone really to rival Memphis Depay this season or last season. They've signed Falcao on a permanent deal. They've sold Adnan Januzaj, which means really Depay is probably their main young now prospect. Defence really is the position Manchester United have strengthened in. Again, another attacking midfielder they've sold in Antonio Valencia. So I think Depay really is in a good position and good stead for the season, and will probably be one of the first names on the team list. So it's a really good season for Manchester United. It'll be interesting to see how they do in European competition next season, and be interesting to see how Memphis Depay did. So we'll skip forward another season again and see how they did. Okay guys, so we're going into the second season now. Time to see how Memphis Depay is doing and how Manchester United ended up finishing in the season. So let's see if he is still at Manchester United, which he certainly is. His value has stayed around the same. This season, he didn't play as many games, I suppose. Overall, he only got 9 goals for the whole season. He started 17 games. He came on for 21. Overall, he played 17 games. He came on as a substitute for 21. Scored only 9 goals. In the league, he only scored 6. International, he started 7. He only scored 4. He played a lot better internationally, as you can see with the average rating there. But he didn't have the best of second seasons. His physical stats do look like they're getting better. If we can have a quick overview of those. Yeah, his free kick taking's got slightly better from when we first looked at them. Can't really see if they're improving though. So yeah, he did probably slightly better last season. I'm not sure if he had an injury or anything that we need to know of. He didn't have any injuries. So I'm not too sure what happened there. We'll check out how Manchester United did as a whole in the season. They finished 3rd in the Premier League. Not as good as they did last season, but it was only 5 points off the top. As a whole, let's see how their team did and if they've brought any new players in. So Depay really should be starting. They brought in Arimenko, maybe could be, you know, a more attacking threat for United, and they're starting with Rooney and Falcao more up front rather than Memphis Depay. We'll check their schedule too now, Manchester United, how they did. So in the Premier League, obviously they finished 3rd. FA Cup, again knocked out quite early in the 4th round to Everton. Capital One Cup, got to the semi-final. When's the final for that then? Well, they won on aggregate. They lost in the final to Liverpool, 4-2. Not too sure why it wasn't showing up. Oh, it's there. Not too sure it's up there. And then Champions League, it'll be interesting to see how they did in this. Okay, they got to the final here, and they lost 1-0 to, there we go, they lost 1-0 to FC Bayern, which is unfortunate. Depay didn't play. He may have come on as a late substitute actually, but that's a very good run for Manchester United. They had an interesting group, we could say, PSG, Braga and Celtic. And they had 2 English teams on the way to the final too, which is interesting. Community Shield, they beat Chelsea 2-1 to Depay actually scoring. So that season wasn't as good for Memphis Depay as we probably thought it would be. I probably expected him to improve on what he did last season, but it seems like he wasn't getting the game time he probably would be, or should be getting rather. He scored more goals in his first season, got a lot more assists and a much better average rating. This season I'm expecting him to break into the first team, making a lot more appearances, preferably as a striker, and if not, we could see him leaving in the next season or two. So we'll do a few more seasons and we'll see how much more Memphis Depay progresses. To the 3rd season now, end of the 2016-17 season. We'll go and see how Memphis Depay has done this season. And he has moved to Chelsea. Interesting. Taken a short pay cut, but his value has gone up about 5 million. A few of his stats I can see have increased. He must have moved in January, unless Chelsea just haven't played him enough. He scored 1 goal for them in the league. 7 appearances, 7 starts, 4 off the bench. Interesting. 8 internationals with 3 goals. So this is more in depth. Actually, we'll go on history first rather to see. So he must have done it. He played a lot more games for United. Sorry, no. When did he move then? He had the 2 seasons at United. £16 million Chelsea brought him for. I'm just trying to check when they signed him. 17th of July. So he did join in the summer. But only 11 games all season. Was that hindered by injuries or just didn't get in the squad? Didn't get in the squad. It is a shame. He didn't play much again. And it's worrying for Depay. It seriously is. We'll check his stats and form though. He did get a good amount of goals. He played a few in the under-21s, which isn't promising. The FA Cup, the Premier Division, he played a few in. But 11 goals in all competitions, including, World Cup and England under-21. So minus the one on the under-21s, and he got 8. It's not bad. Well, it is quite bad. It's worrying. At this stage of his career, I thought Memphis Depay would be, up there with the best in the world at that value, and he's still only playing 8 games. I'm not too sure what's going on. Chelsea as a whole, though, they finished 4th in the Premier League. Jurgen Klopp is now their manager too. United finished 3rd. I think they've also got a new manager, Jorge Jesus, the Benfica boss. But Chelsea only just finished 4th. They finished some distance in front of Everton, but some distance behind United. So it was always theirs, I feel. We'll see how they did in games. So they're in the Europa League. If we can get rid of all this. So in the FA Cup, they finished in the final. They won the FA Cup. No, that's good. He didn't play. No, did he play in the semis? Depay, yeah, he scored as well in the semis, but he didn't play in the final. Capital One Cup, they lost in the 3rd round. Champions League, they weren't in. Europa League, they won that as well. Interesting, against Roma. That was a good result. That was an accident. Didn't really mean to click on that one. But in Roma, yeah, they beat them. Did Depay play at all? No. I think maybe it was the wrong career move. I'm not sure, because I think he would have got a lot more games at Manchester United rather than joining Chelsea. It was, I want to see, really, he's got a lot more rivals for positions. Willian, well, I suppose, yeah, Januzaj have also got. Salvio, Hazard, Oscar, Costa, Berardi, who's insane. 2 fantastic strikers. So I don't think Depay would get a first team spot, and that's seriously worrying. We'll look at the next season rather, and we'll see how Memphis Depay is doing again, and that will be the end of the episode. Now we're into the 4th season and the last season of the episode, and it's time to see if Memphis Depay got his his rewards really of being such a talented young footballer and getting more appearances for Chelsea or any other club in the Premier League or another division. So let's have a quick look. Okay, still at Chelsea, but his value's gone down by almost 15 million, and he's only started 4 games in the league. That's really disappointing. He put in a decent average rating and he scored 7 goals. 4 starts, 12 games as a substitute. He scored 10 in the whole season. So when he played, he was decent, I suppose. 7.03 rating overall. So Depay, it looks like he's declining as a footballer. It really does. It's not promising still. He's playing in the under-21 still, really, which he shouldn't be doing. Europa League, he had a few games in. Just the one in the FA Cup. So overall, it's disappointing to see this, because in reality, I really think Memphis Depay would be a really good player in the Premier League. And it's not as if he's a poor player. We can see by the stats. And obviously Chelsea wouldn't just buy him for over 15 million and, discard him like this. his stats are still top drawer. I feel he could be of use to any Premier League side, even if he went back to Manchester United. But we'd see how Chelsea did overall throughout the season. They finished second in the Premier League. Jurgen Klopp's still their manager. They finished three points behind Man City when it won the league. United back up to third. We'll see if they brought in any new players as well. Any players that would probably rival Memphis Depay. John Obi Mikel. They must have sold him and brought him back. Brian Cristante. He's just a central midfielder. I don't really think Depay had much to... Oh, they bought him for 20 million, not 16. Where did I find 16? 20 million. I wonder if he was injured at any time. Nope. Achievements. They did end up winning the Super Cup. We'll check the other fixtures now, if Depay played any part in that. So this in the Europa League, they lost in the final on penalties to Everton. Interesting. He didn't play any part in that game. The Super Cup as well, they won against City. Not too sure if he played in that. Community Shield, they lost 3-2 to City. Champions League, knocked out in the groups. Didn't exactly have the toughest of groups. I suppose Porto and Ajax are a decent side, but they only won 2 of their games. I think, and as we saw, he'd only played 1. Capital One Cup, they knocked out in the first round against West Ham. FA Cup, they knocked out in the third round against Cardiff. Depay actually scoring in that game. So as a whole, I'm quite disappointed with this experiment, to be honest. I really think Memphis Depay had real potential to be a star in the Premier League. I don't think Manchester United would sell him that early on, especially not to another Premier League club anyway. But obviously this is all just for a bit of fun and to see how Memphis Depay would do virtually rather than in real life. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode anyway. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe around if you're new and want to see more experiments. Also let me know if you want to see any different types of experiments, what kind of players you want to see at different clubs and so on. You can also check out my friend Top FM. He's doing some new cool stuff on his channel, and with a great football manager say there too, and he's going to be doing some experiments of his own. But I hope you guys enjoy this episode anyway, and I'll see you all soon. Goodbye.